But straight to the coronavirus count, where over 37,000 new cases have been reported as of 8 a.m. this morning, according to data from the Health Ministry. This takes the total confirmed cases to 11.5 lakhs in India now. So daily recoveries were close to 25,000, which was a record, and this takes the total number of recoveries above 7 lakhs. The death toll is over 28,000 after 587 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. Now, daily testing is back above the 3 lakh mark after dipping below that level on Sunday. Now, testing has been steadily above the 3 lakh mark. Maharashtra's Thane and Pune remain India's worst affected districts. Both have over 35,000 active cases each. Bengaluru has around 25,000 active cases, while Mumbai has nearly 24,000 active cases. Now, the active cases in Delhi saw a drop once again for the 14th day in a row, coming in as good news for the capital. And a COVID-19 vaccine co-developed by the University of Oxford and AstraZeneca has shown promising results in its initial human trials. According to data published in The Lancet, the vaccine candidate showed acceptable safety profile and also triggered an immune response after a test on over 1,000 healthy adults. Now, the Indian partner in this project is the Serum Institute, and it plans to start human trials for the vaccine in India by August. CEO Adar Poonawalla says he's confident of starting manufacturing of up to 400 million doses by the end of 2020 if all goes as planned.
Look, we are starting to manufacture 300 to 400 million doses by the end of this year, because if we get the permission to manufacture large batches in August, when we get the phase 3 permission, then we can start manufacturing large-scale batches and have 300 to 400 million by the end of December, which means Q1, Q2, you have the rollout of the vaccine, just like Sarah Gilbert has mentioned. We've already made a few million doses at small scale, as I had mentioned to you earlier, to make sure that the vaccine works. Because of its fast-track nature and everyone's fast-tracking everything, probably take about a week to 2 weeks to decide on what kind of study and trial we'll have to do. And, from that moment to actually injecting patients in hospitals, probably another 2 to 3 weeks, because everything is accelerated. So we're talking about a month and a half from today. We are hoping to inject, or maybe even sooner, but I'm being very cautious on my timelines. We should inject patients, in a month and a half maximum. As soon as we apply for the phase 3 permission and we have that granted, the phase 2/3 permission that we're applying for, we will simultaneously get a special permission for manufacturing at risk, but not releasing into the market obviously till the product is licensed, which will be end of the year, giving us the month of August, September, and October to produce 60 to 70 million doses per month, going on like that at that rate, and maybe even reaching about 100 million doses per month by the time we reach December, so that way, you're going to be making probably 1 billion doses by the end of 2021.
So there were 3 vaccine studies released yesterday. In fact, Archana Shukla joins us now to analyze those 3 studies. Now, Archana, which one seems the most promising? What are the differences between these 3 vaccine candidates?
Well, yes, before I start, the biggest caveat is these are all early stage data, and phase 3 clinical trials is what will eventually establish the efficacy of any of these virus candidates. But from the data that has been released, yesterday we saw data being released, early stage data being released for Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine candidate, as well as the CanSino Biologics vaccine candidate, which is from Wuhan, China. Just a little while, a day earlier, data was released for Moderna, and a few days ago, Pfizer had also released data of early stage. So comparing the data, all 4 vaccine candidates which are in late stage trials now, the early data has suggested that all of them have shown immune response both at the antibody level as well as T cell and immune response, which means all of them are showing inducing immunity which could last longer. How much longer is something that will be proved in phase 3 with larger trials. Now, if we look at the kind and the quality of the immune response, the immune response showed by the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine candidate was similar, but not significantly higher than the immune response you see in patients who've already recovered for COVID-19. Compare it to Moderna's vaccine candidate, it showed 4 times higher immune response than those who have recovered. The Pfizer's one was similar or slightly higher. So in this category, the Moderna one was was showing higher immune response as compared to those who have recovered already. The dosages trialed is also something that we must keep in mind, because we at this point in time, the data and the knowledge on virus is very limited. So how many dosages would be required, what would be the dosage size that would be required, and hence trialing multiple dosages is important. Oxford is only trialing one dosage. They did a very small sample of 10 participants on a booster dose. There also, they did not see a much higher immune response. However, if you compare Moderna, which is testing 3 dosages, they've seen almost 10 times higher immune response on a booster dose. So that also gives a more promising response on the Moderna vaccine candidate. The booster shot on Oxford will be trialed in much larger numbers in phase 3 and would establish that. As far as safety is concerned, Oxford's safety profile came out much cleaner as compared to the all other 3 vaccine candidates who have shown early stage data. No adverse events were reported, no serious adverse events were reported, mild side effects, which could be handled with paracetamol dose. However, during the trial, Oxford vaccine candidate, 2 of the trial sites had to change their trial protocol to include paracetamol. Now, large-scale phase 3 trials will kind of establish if this impact is amplified or not. If it amplifies, then that would be a serious concern on that part. So for all the 4 candidates, Moderna seems to have a slightly stronger data set as far as the early data is concerned. But again, phase 3 is what establishes efficacy in large diverse sets of people, in older people, in high-risk people. These are the priority groups, and whether the vaccine works and for how long will the immunity last will be established only in phase 3. But like all others, even Oxford has now accepted that any vaccine would be available, even if they are the first. The vaccine could come in only by early 2021.
Right, absolutely, Archana. So one more promising than the others, but still it's a patient waiting game. But Archana, what about the other story that you've been tracking, the Delhi Sero survey, where 1 in every 4 person in Delhi has been exposed to the virus that triggers the coronavirus disease. So the Sero prevalence study that was released by the Kejriwal government, can you take us through the key findings of that Sero survey, and what are the implications of suggesting that 1 out of every 4 people might have come into contact at least with the virus?
Well, yes, it's a significant number. You're talking about at least a quarter of the population in Delhi, through the random sampling that the government has done, could be exposed or affected with the SARS-CoV-2 virus. This directly indicates the high transmission rate of the COVID-19 virus in the localities in Delhi. Now, if we go down to the numbers, 21,387 samples were tested for antibodies. Antibodies reflect the past exposure to the virus. These tests are not used at diagnosis. So we should not say that these many number or this percentage of population has been infected. No, they have been exposed to the virus and their body has, developed some sort of an immune response to the SARS-CoV virus. So over 21,300 samples were tested across 11 districts. The study was done between June 27th and July 10th. 8 districts saw seroprevalence of less than 20%, and the others saw higher, and hence the average is at around 23.48% population of the samples surveyed were found. A large number of infected persons are also asymptomatic, because those who were symptomatic would have been tested with the RT-PCR. The other implication that we must look at from this data is that still almost to 75% of the population in Delhi and in cities like that is vulnerable to the virus, and hence the safety protocols, the social distancing norms, masks, etc. must be taken care of. And that is also to further slow down the spread of the virus and to reduce and limit the number of deaths. One important thing that seroprevalence studies also indicate is that the case fatality numbers are much higher than the infection fatality numbers. And that is what we must be focusing on, which is the infection fatalities. And that would be a better signal to find out how large prevalence of the virus is. Back to you.
Right, absolutely, Archana. Many thanks for getting us all those details. But now to Tamil Nadu's Kanjivaram. In fact, let's take a look at Rajasthan's Bandej, which in fact is world famous for its multiple sari hubs. The sari market of these hubs are always filled with people throughout the year as customers shop for weddings, festivals, as well as special occasions. CNBC TV 18 visits one such destination and finds out what has changed since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, this is the monsoon season. It is raining across the country. And in Rajasthan, this means the season of Leheriya saris. Leheriya saris, along with a combination of Gotapatti work, along with Bandej work, all of that is in high demand because there is an upcoming festival of Tej on which women here generally wear the Leheriya saris. Has the current scenario changed that? We will find out and give you a status check.
कोविड के बाद कस्टमर्स तो हर जगह कम आए हैं और टूरिस्ट तो बिल्कुल बंद हो गए हैं। अभी जो आ रहे हैं लोकल क्लाइंट्स आ रहे हैं और कस्टमर्स भी लिमिटेड आते हैं जैसे इसमें। अभी इस टाइम तो फॉर्मल्स तो बहुत कम हो गए, थोड़े रेगुलर एंड कैजुअल वेयर्स ज़्यादा बिक रहे हैं अभी इन दिनों। कोई पार्टीज़ वगैरह है नहीं, फंक्शन है नहीं, तो नॉर्मल आइटम्स, रेगुलर आइटम ज़्यादा बिक रहे हैं अभी आने वाले 5-6 मंथ तो आई थिंक रहेगा ये इतना ही, और काफ़ी टाइम लगेगा थोड़ा कोविड से। तो अभी ये तो इस टाइम तो मोस्टली पीक सीजन था हमारा, तो काफ़ी टाइम इस टाइम रहता था समर्स में, तो अभी तो मान के चलिए आप 25% ही रह गया।
फर्स्ट टाइम लॉकडाउन और कोरोना के बाद मैं फर्स्ट टाइम निकली हूँ शॉपिंग करने।
हमारी दुकान में 20 से 25 कस्टमर रोज़ आते थे, तो आज की तारीख में पिछले 2 महीने में हमारे पास में 20 से 25 कस्टमर ही आए। दिन भर एक्चुअली करने को देखा जाए तो कुछ भी नहीं है। स्टॉक को मैनेज करना, मेंटेन करना, तो स्टाफ को उसमें लगा के उनको भी बिजी रख रहे हैं, हम अपने आप को भी बिजी रख रहे हैं। दैट इज़ दी ओनली वे आउट। अदरवाइज होता ये है कि या तो वो मेरी शक्ल देखें या मैं उनकी शक्ल देखूं।
स्टॉक्स आई कैन से कि हम लोग बिल्कुल भी अभी कुछ परचेज़ नहीं कर रहे। केवल लहरिये का सीज़न है, इसलिए लहरिये का सामान स्टॉक लेना ज़रूरी है। केवल अभी लहरिया ले रहे हैं, वो भी बहुत लिमिटेड। जैसे अगर पहले हम 1000 पीस 2000 पीस बनाते थे, तो अब केवल 200 पीस पे आ चुके हैं। मिनिमाइजिंग कॉस्ट, बेसिक मोस्ट ऑफ इट्स इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वी कैन से दैट वी आर डूइंग। देन some help we have received from the Pradhan Mantri. He is given the money, extra ODs that have 10% of ODs have been given at lower cost. Then some burden we have given to our staff also. We are paying them around 50-60% of salaries only.
सिंजारे की वजह से अभी 22 तारीख का जो सिंजारा चल रहा है मैम, उसकी थोड़ी बहुत ग्राहकी है। वो जो कस्टमर हमारे से 5-6 हज़ार रुपये की रेंज की साड़ी परचेज़ करता था, वो अभी 1500-2000 रुपये की रेंज की साड़ी परचेज़ कर रहा है। लोगों की परचेजिंग पावर बहुत कम हो गई है। लॉकडाउन के कारण लोग बहुत डरे हुए हैं, सिटी में आना पसंद नहीं करते। जो हमारी सेल जो पहले थी उसकी अपेक्षा हमारी सेल 20 से 25% की रह गई है। आगे लॉकडाउन का असर काफ़ी दिख रहा है। 22 तारीख के बाद में 3 तारीख का जो राखी का त्यौहार आएगा, उसकी थोड़ी बहुत ग्राहकी चलेगी। उसके बाद मैम 4 महीने तक ऑफ सीजन है, उसके बाद पता नहीं क्या होगा।
Well, a 70 to 80% dip in sales, further aggravated by the restrictions that have been imposed on the number of people that can take part in a gathering, reduction in purchasing power of customers, more focus on regular wear rather than clothes with heavy designs. These are some of the changes that the sari business of Jaipur has witnessed. They await the onset of Diwali or the wedding season for some sort of demand to pick up. This is me, Anu Sharma, reporting from Jaipur with camera person Balbir Singh.
Right, so that gives you an insight into how low consumer demand currently is, even in popular hubs like those sari hubs that Anu just told us about. On that note, we'll slip into a short break. Coming up on the other side, Axis Bank has reported its first quarter numbers. We'll get you the fine print on the other side of the short